are doing the top 5 movie TV aliases. Which, I mean, I came up with that idea one day when I was like daydreaming, and I thought it was a great idea, and I'm excited to talk about this.
Now it's time to actually reveal our lists. So movie TV aliases, we're going to just start with Adam. Give us your number 5 movie or TV alias.
All right. Well, I thought about this, and when a character disguises himself as another character and gets mistaken as that character's name, is that an alias? I'll just throw that out there, ask that question first.
Yes.
Okay, well, cool.
I'd say yes.
So then I would say Luke Skywalker in Star Wars as TK421. Where are you at your post? And he's like, and he knocks his helmet.
Yes, I like it.
TK421, why aren't you post? He's like, aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? As Leia would say. Yeah, so Luke Skywalker, I thought of it. This was one of my first, Luke Skywalker was my first action figure, but Han Solo in the stormtrooper attire was my first figure out of a Fruit Loops box. So good little tribute to that character, those characters. So TK421, Star Wars: A New Hope. So
none of us said that, but I appreciate the pick.
It's beautiful.
I thought that was a pretty good one. That was my.
I heard recently that the line in that movie where Luke Skywalker says, "I can't see a thing in this helmet," that was not a scripted line. That was just Mark Hamill saying it, and it was picked up by the mics, and they decided to keep it.
It's a good one.
Yeah. All right, Zach, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Frank T.J. Mackey from Magnolia. Now, Frank T.J. Mackey is also a great stickman in the movie. And come on, Terry, where's the Tom Cruise baby soundbite? Do I need to find this?
It's here.
It's impossible.
Tom Cruise, baby.
There we go. We need
There's
a
too
Cruise
many of
entry
them.
on this list. Frank T.J. Mackey, a.k.a. Jack. Great character. He's technically Jason Robards' son. Yeah, let's get the energy going, you know.
Technically,
well, they probably a little bit of math there, but see, the real thing about aliases is Adam. I think Adam's definition was spot on. It's a name that you take in order to disguise yourself, and I think fundamentally Frank T.J. Mackey is hiding from his identity as potentially Jason Robards' son. So we're going up the Cruise. Not a lot of great Cruise aliases, but Frank T.J. Mackey definitely belongs on the list. I have a fetish.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. I hadn't thought of that one. That's a good one. It's a good one. Yeah. All right, I'll go next. My number 5. Okay. I had a shot at a video game pick, and I went with it. So I got a video game on here. My number 5. Call me Otacon. My number 5 is Otacon from Metal Gear Solid. Yeah. It's his name is Hal
Emmerich,
apparently Hal Emmerich, but he asked to go by Otacon, and so I was like, I have a video game, I gotta put it on my list. So number 5 on my list is Otacon from the Metal Gear Solid series. It's a great one.
It's a good one. It's funny.
Well, I had on my honorable mentions Iroquois Pliskin, which is what Snake says that he is in Metal Gear Solid 2 when it's clearly Solid Snake. He says Iroquois Pliskin.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I will say I did not predict Adam to have a video game on his list, and I was kind of bummed that I couldn't think of another one to put on his list. But
I thought of one for my honorable mentions.
Oh, well then maybe I'm doing good. Okay, Todd, number 5.
Okay, my number 5 is my Police Academy pick. I've never actually had one from Police Academy 2, but I have mentioned this series 4 times. It is Jughead, which is the undercover name for Mahoney when he's infiltrating Zed's gang.
Jughead.
He's like, my name's Jughead. My mother's name was Jughead, and then he's like, oh, I mean, well, you know, he's like, no. Jughead it's just Mahoney wearing a bandana, and it is fantastic. I love that part of Police Academy 2. It's not a great movie, but that is a great segment of the movie. And undercover cops, they get a lot of aliases, so Jughead, that had to be on the list.
Jughead. That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
And I get to do my Bobcat impression, and I love Bobcat. One of the true national treasures.
True national treasure. All right. Adam, number 4.
All right, so we have to have a TV pick, and I was debating on several different characters, but once I thought about this character, I was like, "Yep, I gotta put a new girl on here on this list." Yeah, Julius Pepperwood from Chicago. Thin crust. No, thank you. Julius Pepperwood, Nick Miller's character, played by Jake Johnson. He goes in to try to goes into the class to get information about this other student, and he made the Pepperwood Chronicles as well as his alias. He wrote a whole book series about Pepperwood. So Julius Pepperwood from Chicago. That's my number 4 pick.
I had that on my honorable mentions. That's a great pick.
It was really easy to just go completely with TV on this one.
Oh, I have several TV on the honorable mentions.
All right. Well, we're 0 for 2 so far with predicting Adam's list. But Zach, what's yours? What's your number 4?
On my list so far. That's the best part.
No complaints. No complaints.
I'm just going to say my number 4. My name is Roger Murdoch, and I'm the co-pilot. I'm going Roger Murdoch, a.k.a. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Airplane. A movie I love. He's the co-pilot. He's not who you think he is. You think it's easy doing what I do out there all night, guarding Lambeer? Roger Murdoch. See on the name tag.
I like it. That's a good one.
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Yeah, me too. I'm next. My number 4. I'm going to Die Hard. And what's your name, pal? Clay. Bill Clay. Hans Gruber going as Bill Clay when he first meets John McClane in Die Hard. That's my number 4. Like that, and it's even on the board. Like there's a B Clay on the board that works in the building. Like what that was that's a clutch move there by Hans Gruber. Bill Clay. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. That's such a great. That's one of the best scenes in Die Hard. And yeah, Bill Clay. Hans
Nicely
Gruber.
done.
Number 4.
Bill Clay.
All right, Todd, number 4.
All right, I just realized I have undercover cops aplenty on my list. My number 4 is from the Fast and Furious. It's Brian Earl Spillner.
Oh, nice.
Sounds like a serial killer, which it does. I mean, that's a great serial killer name if you were gonna just try to create one. But yes, Officer Brian O'Connor as Brian Earl Spillner. His way to infiltrate the gang of the Dominic Toretto and all that. He doesn't look like a Brian Earl Spillner at all. Like he's like a California boy with frosted tips. And but he's awesome. I previously mentioned Fast and Furious in motorcycle scenes. But yeah, I don't know. I love undercover cops apparently, and that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Can we just agree that Fast X2 is taking forever to get out in theaters? We want more Momoa. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Number 1 anticipated of whatever year that comes out.
Yep. All right. Number 3, Adam.
All right. Number 3 holds a special place in my heart because my dad, from a film franchise of Vegas Vacation, we got Russell Griswold, played by Ethan Embry. He goes, "It's Nick Papagiorgio." It's on this
Vegas Vacation.
Vegas. So this one is a special place because I actually used to call my dad Papa Giorgio every once in a while. Like, "What's up, Papa Giorgio?" He's like, "What's up, son?" And so it definitely is something like when I was digging into the archives of different aliases. I was like, yeah, Papa Giorgio has to be on this list. And yeah, so his alias, he's definitely a wannabe stickman. He plays that persona. Ethan Embry does a really great job. I like Vegas Vacation. It's a fun film. It's definitely, I'm probably more nostalgic than anything, but Papa Giorgio got to be on my list.
Now, see, that's a fascinating pick. I think Vegas Vacation might be one of the 5 worst movies of all time. And yet, when it's on Pluto TV, I don't turn it off. I think it is a fascinating mess of a movie that would maybe be really fun, but also sadistically painful to deep dive in 2 years because it's painfully unfunny. I mean, there's absolutely nothing funny in the movie whatsoever. And that in itself kind of makes it funny and interesting. It's like every gag is a fail in that movie. And you've got talented people. You got Tom Jones. You got Wallace Shawn. You got Cousin Eddie living out on
Wayne Newton.
Yeah. Or I'm sorry, not Tom Jones. Wayne Newton. I'm sorry. I'm getting my Vegas movies confused here. Yeah. But I like the Papa Giorgio reference. That's very cool. If that character were be played today, it would be played by Mark Edelstein, right? That has to be the current day Papa Giorgio.
Nick Papa Giorgio. Yeah, that's a good one. So you're not wearing glasses. Oh, not today. Not today. No. It's good.
All right, Zach, number 3.
That was great. Movie. All right. Well, I couldn't do it. Wow. Okay, you're lucky, Terry. I couldn't do this list justice without referencing Seinfeld. There's so many great aliases on Seinfeld. The most obvious one would be to go with Art Vandelay, but I think the one that I'm going to go with today, because I kind of just feel like it, is a Kramer pseudonym or alias. I always thought the Kramer aliases were the funniest ones, and I'm going to go with from season 6, episode 21, The Fusilli Jerry. I'm going to go Cosmo Kramer. You are the ass man. It is when Kramer gets mistakenly a license plate, New York license plate that says ass man on it. And he becomes the ass man. Everyone starts calling him ass man. He dates a, shall we say, robust girlfriend. And he gets a lot of compliments for his stickmanry and his plate. Now, it actually turns out this is a special pick because it doesn't just apply to Kramer, because the real ass man is Dr. Howard Cooperman, proctologist. So therefore, he gets returned to the rightful owner, and actually Dr. Cooperman, who performed some sort of anal procedure on Frank Costanza when he actually lands on top of the Fusilli Jerry, is the actual ass man. So you could say either Kramer or Dr. Cooperman, they are whoever's alias, as the ass man. But I'm going with number 3, the ass man from New York State.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. I don't remember that episode. There are a few episodes of Seinfeld I fondly remember. That's not one of them. But there is one that does involve Kramer in a car, and it's when he adopts a highway and refuses to pay for refuses to pay to have it maintenance and decides to maintenance it himself.
Yeah, and he paints the divider.
Yeah, line. Let's make it a 2-lane highway mile instead of 4.
That's from the Pothole, season 9, I think.
And then Elaine, this is so luxurious. Yeah, that's one I do remember with Kramer in a car that I fondly remember that episode. Okay, number 3 for me. There were, when I first heard this category, there were 2 that like instantly popped into my head, and they're my number 3 and my number 2. And so my number 3, it's a tie because it's 2 people. Allow myself to introduce myself. My name is Richie Cunningham, and this is my wife, Oprah. It is Austin Powers and Miss Kensington in Austin Powers going by Richie Cunningham and Oprah, because he doesn't know how dumb those aliases are, because he's been frozen for 20 years. In case you didn't hear, he's been frozen for 20 years, 30 years, whatever it was. This is when he first meets number 2 in Halata Vagina. Yes, so
to work for
Richie Cunningham and Oprah in Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
That's
first thing I thought of was My name is Richie Cunningham, and this is my wife, Oprah.
Beautiful.
Fantastic.
All right. Todd, number 3.
All right, mine also comes from a movie we did a deep dive of. It's another undercover cop, kind of. It's Donnie Brasco, which is Joseph Pistone's undercover thing when he's infiltrating the mob. Johnny Depp's character, and he's awesome because it's a true story. He was undercover for like 6 years, but before he even met them, like even got in close enough to get to the mob, he's so integrated as this undercover person that his alias basically becomes him, and his life starts to imitate the life of a gangster because he basically is one at that point. And that I think that alone deserves recognition from this board. Donnie Brasco. First time I mentioned it on a power rankings, surprisingly.
Wow, that is surprising. How have you never mentioned Donnie Brasco before?
I was wondering that too. It was the first time for everything, I guess.
Wow. All right. Let's move on. Number 2, Adam. Let's see if any of us get anything right.
All right. Well, I think this is a kind of an obvious pick, though. Honestly, quite frankly, it's an actor played by Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey's the actor. The Usual Suspects.
Merlot.
Kaiser
Merlot.
Soze. Yeah.
Wow. And Todd just got a text about it.
No, Seahawks just traded DK Metcalf to the Steelers. That's what happened.
Everyone was hoping he'd go to the Steelers.
And he got 5 years,
Metcalf.
5 years, $150 million.
Holy cow.
That's a monster deal. There's no way the Seahawks are paying that.
Metcalf and Pickens in the same wide receiver room.
Without Russ.
Justin Fields said he's going to the free agent market. I saw Devontae Adams. I saw Devontae Adams signed with the Rams too.
Yeah, screw the Rams.
And Josh Allen just got a 6-year, $330 million deal.
Well, the Seahawks are going to be without their 3 most popular players. Heading into next season, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, Andrew Luck just retired.
Well, they did technically sign Ernest Jones back.
They did re-sign Ernest Jones. He's not. What did we get for him? That's what I want to know. What did we get for DK?
I don't know. I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that. I don't even see the trade in my alerts. So whatever. All right. Well, let's keep going. We can look this up as we go along. Did Adam do his number 2? I forget.
Kaiser.
No. I'm reloaded.
Oh, yeah. That's right. More loaded. That's right.
Merlot.
Okay. Zach, number 2.
Okay. I don't know what our official policy is on this. So I'm just going to go out and say my number 2 is a tie between Daniel Hillard and Mrs. Doubtfire and Dorothy Michaels and Michael Dorsey and Tootsie. I think it's only appropriate that those are a tie.
That's fair.
I couldn't really choose between them. I don't even know if those really count as aliases. I would say I might give the preference a little bit to Dorothy Michaels because you could also make the case that Dr. Emily Kimberly on the soap opera Southwest General is also the alias of her brother Dwayne, son of Alma. It's Edward Kimberly, son of Dwayne and Alma Kimberly. So there's an alias within an alias, but I think not having either of those, I don't know where we fall on the blurred gender line aliases. I don't know. I'm
surprised you didn't put Amelia Perez in there.
I was going to say I don't know where Amelia Perez would rank on this, but I think you have to recognize those. And yes, for sure. And this podcast gets a half-star boost just for mentioning Tootsie. So we're going to go with both of those 2 as a tie.
I'll allow it. That's fair. All right. I'll go next. My number 2. Okay, this is about as random and obscure as you get. But number 2. Oh, I mentioned that on number 3. I should have made it number 2 because then I could have said number 2 or number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but my number 2 is all right. I think this was season 1 of NCIS. It is like one scene that's mentioned, even goes badly, but Tony DiNozzo in season 1 of NCIS at one point goes undercover, and he has Abby build him an undercover profile, and they like spend a scene talking about this undercover profile, and it had like the best undercover name like ever, and his name is Gus Bricker. And I always thought that was like the best name ever. And like he's like, oh, that's a good name, Gus Bricker. And so Tony DiNozzo goes undercover as Gus Bricker, and it doesn't even work. Like it goes horribly because he like was going undercover with another group that was going undercover, and like they both like spoil each other. But Gus Bricker is like it's inconsequential eventually, but it's like one of the greatest aliases you could come up with. Like that's a cool name, Gus Bricker.
And she used to make a 2K5 players named Gus Bricker.
Yeah, I did used to make a 2K5. Yeah, yes, I had a 2K5 player named Gus Bricker because of that. I had another one named Castor Troy.
And Dr. Evil.
And there was a Dr. Evil. Yeah.
That's a great pick. I had forgotten about Gus Bricker.
But you know what I'm talking about as soon as you hear it, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was that. Yeah, when I watched that show, that was a big deal.
But it was like one scene in the first season. But you hold on to it. Okay. Todd, number 2.
All right. My number 2 is my TV pick. It's coming from Prison Break. I previously mentioned Prison Break on characters who deserve spin-off. Like that was Teabag. Unwarranted Murders. I think that was Tweener. And Unique Criminals, which is Michael Scofield. But so when they break out of prison, it's early season 2. They have their fake identities, and so Michael has his and Lincoln's fake identities, and Lincoln looks at his fake ID, and he's like, Archie Ryan, and then it's funny because like he looks like an Archie Ryan, but then he's like, what's yours? And then Wentworth Miller's just like Phineas McClintock. Like, which is like, and then Lincoln's like, so you guys that laughed like, like I remember that reference, but like we don't. Like this is like a total like deep threaded inside joke between two characters that's never referenced, and it's because they're brothers. This is like me making a fake ID for Terry called Danko Fige. Like it's like Phineas McClintock and Archie Ryan are so perfect that it has to be something that they mentioned when they were children, and he made fake IDs of it. I mean, it's fantastic. And this was the reason why I made the list, was because I remembered this scene and I was like, I need more shit like that. So Archie Ryan and Phineas McClintock in Prison Break, number 2.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Simbo Raj.
Simbo Raj and Danko Fige. Exactly.
Yeah. Those were our go-to names for players on 2K5. Mm-hmm.
So really, this list is now just power rankings of players on 2K.
When Terry mentioned that, I was like, dude, this plays into that. Yes.
Well, I created Cy Young winner Zaddam. Zaddam. That was my created.
One name.
It was number 99, and it was just one name. That's all it was. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Well, what is your number 1, Adam?
Terry Pluckton as Danko Fige. No. No, my number 1 would be where's my form here? I remember. Make sure I got it. Where is it? Okay. Number 1 is Randall Stevens, aka Andy Dufresne from The Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, that's a good one.
You can't just make a person up.
So Randall, who is Randall Stevens?
Randall Stevens is the guy that he creates to get all the warden's money.
The money at the end of the movie.
At the end of the movie, yeah.
At the end
only exists on paper.
Only exists on paper.
That was
you haven't had a social security number.
Yeah. So
I like it.
When he goes to
Well-
Mexico, do people call him Senor Randall?
Senor Stevens.
Maybe.
We'll have to listen to his honorable mentions to see if any of us actually,
Yeah, we were
touched
0
anything.
for on that. At that. I
Yeah,
think.
Did that
we'll
go bad?
get to that in a little
I
bit.
thought
Oh
that's a
for
good one.
5.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, Zach, number 1.
All right, my number 1 will make sense when I say it, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
Hopefully.
I haven't said it in a while on a power rankings. I'm glad to bring him back. It's the one and only Tony Erdmann, played by the great Peter Simonoshek. Tony Erdmann, I think Todd's the only person who's actually seen this movie. It is an actual movie, okay, and it's actually a good movie. But Tony Erdmann in the movie is not the real guy. The real guy's name, and I had to look this up on Wikipedia, is Winifred. And Winifred has a daughter in the movie, and she's played by now Academy Award winner Sandra Hüller. So if you ever want to see her in kind of one of her earlier roles, she's really good in this movie. But she's this kind of uptight professional woman who this father figure that she has in her life is really goofy and unstable. And so he develops this alter ego, this persona called Tony Erdmann, which has a lot of costume and prosthetic and glasses and fake teeth. And he becomes a life coach. And Tony Erdmann basically becomes more popular than Winifred ever did. And there was talks to remake this movie with Jack Nicholson and Kirsten Wiig. And that was inspired casting. That would have been great recasting. Too bad it never happened. Maybe it's not too late. I don't know. But that would have been a great remake. And I love Tony Erdmann, and we need more recognition for Peter Simonoshek. I don't know. Todd's got in the record somewhere. Maybe that's my 43rd mention or whatever. But this was clearly the number one, for always from the start, the greatest alias.
I was so happy to see Jack Nicholson on the SNL 50 because I feel like that was his first public appearance in like forever.
Yeah, years. It's cool.
Should have been.
And all he was there for was to introduce Adam Sandler. It's like, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Sandler,
my co-star of Anger Management.
and Adam's just like, oh, thanks, Jack, thanks. And then he sings a song. Yeah. Good one. All right. Now it's time for Todd and me to talk about Kaiser Soze. Because I think
are you Merloted too? I didn't hear.
Yeah, I am Merloted too. It's both of our number ones.
I saw you put up the graphic. I didn't hear you actually say Merlot. That's awesome.
Yeah, I said Merlot too. Yep. So Kaiser Soze is their number one, and really that's all it could be. Like one of the greatest movies of all time is designed around an alias. And it's this alias, and it's a great alias. It's a really good one. But what, like, the whole thing is, who is Kaiser Soze? Like, who is it an alias for? Like, I love that. And okay, so on 2K5, I had I created 3 players at one point that were all linebackers, and it was Castor, Troy, Gus Bricker, and Kaiser Soze. And and I think Kaiser Soze was a 7-foot, 260-pound linebacker. Nothing stopped Kaiser Soze.
He's a Hungarian legend.
He's a Hungarian legend, exactly. So yeah, and once I thought of Kaiser Soze, I'm like, well, that's it. There is no other number one other than Kaiser Soze, right, Todd?
Yeah, exactly. So I previously mentioned Usual Suspects on characters that deserve a spinoff. That was for Fencer McManus. Worst Ebert takes and cast chemistry. But yeah, I mean, so he's a drug lord who is his alias, his other identity is so perfect that he even like screws up his hand because he's got to like crack his hand because his hand was never not in place as verbal for like the couple days that he was at the police office. It was, I mean, it's obviously one of the great movies, one of the great characters, one of the great performances, but he's so integrated that it's not like, Primal Fear. He doesn't break at any point and go back to being, Kaiser. Like, he is verbal for the entirety of the movie, which is why you can never suspect that he's the actual guy you're looking for. It's the perfect alias. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, it's a great one. It's surprised my wife when I showed her the movie, as she picked up on it kind of right away. Maybe it's a lucky guess, but still, like, it's a great freaking movie. We talked about Bryan Singer's weird filmography. This is one of his greats as well. And yeah, I can't picture another alias. I have it. I had it at number one for a little bit. Then I thought about the Randall Stevens pick, and I was like, yeah, I got to put Andy Dufresne. I have that rated a little higher movie wise, but yeah, that's just a great performance. Great. They even made a T-shirt with his like foot pattern going, and then it slowly goes that way at the finale shot. Like it's a great little twist there.
Honorable mention time, Adam. You're up.
All right. Okay. My video game pick is Cloud as his he dresses up as a female in Final Fantasy VII at one point. So that, and then another character dresses as a different character too. So that it would be my honorable mention there. I guess Marcus Phoenix and Dom Santiago from Gears of War 2 when they infiltrate the Horde is the Hive. Larry Bernandez, aka Felix Hernandez in the Seattle Mariners commercials.
You told me that one was coming, so I didn't mention it, but I knew that was going to be in your honorable mention.
That's a great one.
Duke Silver, aka Ron Swanson in Parks and Rec. Burt Macklin and Janet Snakehole, Andy and April in Parks and Rec. It's a great ones. Art Vandelay from Seinfeld. McLovin from Superbad. Enrico Palazzo.
That's one.
Yeah.
That's one for everyone, though.
Enrico Palazzo, aka Frank Drebin from the Naked Gun franchise. I'm surprised he's acting.
Well, that was from the first one.
Yeah,
I thought about
one. Yeah.
Okay.
Clint Eastwood, Marty McFly from Back to the Future 3. And Abe Foreman, the Sausage King of the Northwest, the Sausage King of Chicago.
Sausage King of Chicago.
Yeah, Ferris Bueller from Matthew. And then everybody from Clue, because Professor Plum, Colonel Mustard, and celebrating its 40th anniversary. We should deep dive that. Just throwing that out.
You go Clue, but you don't go Reservoir Dogs.
Wow. Yeah, I guess Reservoir Dogs is a good one. I thought it.
Okay. Buffalo Bill. The shock did not hear that one. Bill the Extreme from Bill Paxton in Twister. Death Incarnate, the Black Mamba's handle in Kill Bill Volume 2. Don Draper / Dick Whitman. Chivo Luzbecki. That's his alias, I think, or maybe a nickname. Motherfucker Jones. I don't know his real name. NY152 and Shop Girl and You've Got Mail. Bernie Mac as Ramon in Ocean's 11. Lake Corbeau, which is I've never seen, but it's an alias, I think, in the movie. Dr. Derek Summersby, I think, counts as an alias because it's Derek's wallet. Peter Brady / Johnny Bravo. I was going to go with Frank Drebin as Phil Donahue as my alias from the Naked Gun movies. Dances with Wolves. Oda Mae Brown / Rita Miller from Ghost. Deep Throat from either All the President's Men or Dick. Mel Gibson as the Beaver in The Beaver. Lieutenant or Captain whatever Bat Guano in Dr. Strangelove. Prince Ali Fabulous He from Aladdin. Ving Rhames as in Baby Boy. His alias in that movie is Big Daddy Dick. Matthew Warmbier as Spud. And then, of course, I did have a couple of names that I thought were aliases, but maybe are actually their real names. Maria Villalobos from Pulp Fiction, and the coach of the Washington Huskies, Danny Sprinkle. I don't think those are real names, but maybe they are. And then finally, we had to go with Longlegs. I mean, isn't that his nickname? He's a Pinot Award winner, and his nickname is Longlegs. I think that seals it, right? He has to be at least an honorable mention.
Immaculate.
Yes, that's good. That's good. All right. My honorable mentions. The one that was on my list until I thought of Otacon. There's so many things you can pull from Breaking Bad, but the one I was going to go with was Diesel. That's an actual alias. So I was going to say Diesel from Breaking Bad for Jesse Pinkman. Yes. I have a whole fleet of aliases from Friends. Like Regina Phalange or Princess Consuela Banana Hammock, Crap Bag. If you forget my name, just think of a bag of crap. And then Ken Adams. Ken Adams. And then this one is kind of a deep cut. Hans Ramore, Drake's evil twin. Like that's an actual alias. You left the toilet seat up, you bastard. Barry Allen from Catch Me If You Can is the one I went with. Barry Allen. It's from a comic book. Then we've got me. My name is Lando Griffin from Family Guy. When he goes undercover at the school to figure out what the drug craze is. So I texted Todd if nicknames were considered aliases, and he said no. But then I said, what about call signs? Because Maverick from Top Gun, I think, kind of counts as an alias because it's borderline. But I went with it. Then I've got a few more here. They call me No from Look Who's Talking Now. And then How I Met Your Mother. It's kind of a pseudonym, but kind of not. One episode, Barney goes around as Ted Mosby, architect, and gets girls because he's an architect. And then the last one, of course, is I'm not Lebowski, I'm the dude, or Duder, or his dudeness, or El Duderino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
You should have worn the shirt and made that number one.
I should have. All of those are aliases. So yeah, that's my honorable mention. Todd.
All right. Well, so the thing I used as an example for the list was Almost Famous, what they check into their hotels as, which is Emily Rugburn, and it's under the name Harry Houdini. Those are two great ones. The ones that have already been mentioned, Ken Adams and Regina Phalange from Friends, all of them, especially Barry Allen in Catch Me If You Can, is what I wrote down. Randall Stevens in The Shawshank Redemption, Iroquois Pliskin in Metal Gear Solid 2. So the one I thought Tara was going to have, like Tony Clifton, like just in life, like that's like the perfect. I mean, I don't know what to say it's from. Maybe from the documentary, I don't know, or maybe Saturday Night Live or whatever. Heisenberg and Saul Goodman are both great aliases.
And Diesel.
Of course. McLovin, Don Draper, you learn is an alias at some point. I guess that's a spoiler. In Kill Bill Volume 2, Arlene Machiavelli. That's a fake. Yeah. And also under the name Paula Schultz.
Oh, I was thinking about that one. I forgot to put it on my list. Yeah.
Walter Burke is not his real name in The Recruit. And the one I wanted to put on, but it's for like half a scene. It's my name's Jeff.
No, that's
Channing Tatum in 22 Jump Street. And my friends, Swiper and Boots. Boots isn't our real name. Yeah, so I mean that whole scene, like that's Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill just doing their thing. But yeah, my name's Jeff.
I forgot about that. Oh, that's a good one.
I can have all undercover cops. I guess I had 3 of them.
I thought of one. I thought of my name's Jeff one. That's a good one. But I thought of a Chevy Chase in Fletch. He had a lot of aliases in that movie.
Oh yeah.